Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Now, speaking of the daily Discord updates, they are called daily, but I have not posted one in like 4 days because there's still not much going on in the market. Now, I do have some things to say, but there's not much new, and if you are here to hear new information, you're not gonna get much of it. Anyways, we do have this one to set up here. We are still working on the third wave. Are we going to get the third wave? I don't know. You have to keep in mind it's above the 200-day moving average, at least right now, which means that if we want to get to that target, we have to break above the 200-day moving average first, and then we could get to the 200% extension of the 1-2 setup, which is at 74.9 cents. Then after that, we could get a fourth wave move down and a fifth wave move up, and if we get these 5 waves up, it's obviously going to be very, very bullish because it's going to put us back above the bull market support band, and the cross on the bull market support band will happen way sooner, but we just have to wait a bit longer. Now, I want to talk about the 4-hour for a second. If you look at the RSI, we actually used the moving average on the 4-hour RSI as support, and this leads me to believe that if we actually drop below it just slightly, we might actually get another low or some kind of triple bottom in the second wave right here. Before we actually continue, you have to keep in mind I'm actually expecting Ethereum to go a bit lower, probably not today because right now it's Sunday, and if you look at the Ethereum chart, it's doing the exact same thing on the 4-hour chart. It's also above the moving average right here. However, if you go on the weekly chart, it's the same story every single video. We are not oversold yet, and I mean, we are so close to it, we might as well do it, and I think we are still gonna do it. Now, maybe we are not gonna do it, but I mean, at this point, like I said, if we do not do it, then why would we actually bounce right now and not, after we get to the overbought territory, actually oversold territory? It would not make that much sense to me. I mean, here we did it, 2 times in the past, and I told you if we do it for a third time right now, it could be extremely bullish because in the previous 2 times that this happened, we actually went up quite a lot in the long term. Even in the short term, we went up like 95% here, and short term, I mean like 28 days, and then here we went up like 62% in 28 days. Now, of course, we did drop after that, but it does not really matter. What really matters right now is that Ethereum finally goes up, so the altcoin market can also wake up, and if the altcoin market wakes up, then Bitcoin dominance can finally drop, and if Bitcoin dominance drops, then we could be getting a good altcoin season by the end of May. I'm still expecting Bitcoin to do very well, and like I said, today is Sunday, we are back above the trend line on the chart, which means that we are most likely not in a left translated peak. Now, maybe we are, and I don't know it yet, but the comments on my YouTube videos, I mean, they are starting to get a bit negative because Bitcoin is not doing anything. But if you look at what Bitcoin has done in the past, it's always the exact same thing. We always go up for a bit and then we get these boring corrections, and this is the third correction of this cycle. And please do not forget, in the 2017 cycle we had multiple of these. I mean, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 corrections on the way up, so you can definitely expect more. Now, if you look at how many we had in the post-halving year, I think we actually had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now we only had 3 of them, so of course I still think that we are gonna get the summer drop, and I think Bitcoin will still get to all-time highs before then. Now, what do I mean by summer drop? Because many people don't understand that. I actually wanted to look at what happened in the previous 3 cycles. Every single summer, Bitcoin actually dropped, and it dropped a lot. For example, in the first cycle, it dropped like 80%, in the second cycle, it dropped like 40%, and in the previous cycle, it dropped like 50% or so. Now, when does it usually happen? It's still, unknown because it happened in different time periods every single cycle. For example, in the first cycle, the drop actually started in April and it ended in July. In the second cycle, it started, I believe, in June and it ended in July. So it's different every single cycle. However, we do have a pattern. So the first cycle was April and ended in July. The second cycle was June and it ended in July. And in the third cycle, we actually started it in April, just like we did in the 2013 cycle. So maybe right now we are following the 2017 cycle because, like I said, this was April, this was June, and this was April. Maybe in this cycle we go down in June, and actually it would make a lot of sense because Bitcoin kind of needs to get to new all-time highs highs before getting the summer drop. Now, of course, some are already arguing that maybe the summer drop already happened, and to that I say, I mean, we are not in the summer, so no, of course it did not happen. The summer drop cannot happen. If it's not summer, I still think it's gonna drop, but I think it will get to all-time highs by then. And for those saying that it's not possible, you have to keep in mind, in the past, after we found support at the trend line right here on the weekly chart, and after we actually got, a bounce, Bitcoin went up a lot, even in the short term. I mean, I think I actually looked at this, and I think Bitcoin actually went up about 80% in like 2 months, and that's exactly what we need right now to get to about $140,000. We need to go up like 80% in April and May, and then we can actually start dropping in June like we did in the 2017 cycle. Now the question is, are we doing what we did in 2017, or are we doing something entirely different? Are we getting the summer drop in July this time? I don't know. Nobody really knows. We can just use the data and maybe, get an idea of what could happen, but nobody really knows what will happen. But based on the, RSI right here, maybe it's safe to say that the low is already in on the Bitcoin chart. Now, please do not forget, if the low is in on the Bitcoin chart, it does not mean that it's in on the Ethereum chart. Obviously not. Ethereum, like I said, it's not oversold yet. Now, going back to the Cardano chart, I know this is why you are here, but, people who are watching, my videos daily, they are not really here for Cardano anymore, because, I mean, yes, the video is titled Cardano price prediction or whatever, but, we talk about multiple things here, and if you have watched like one Cardano video in the past from me, I think you already know what's going on in the market, and, well, it's not much that I can say about this, other than the fact that on the weekly chart, we actually need to get back above the moving average. I've been talking about this for a very long time now. I've actually been talking about this since we got rejected right here. And, well, I told you back then that we will most likely go lower because of this, because we got rejected by the moving average after we went up. And, well, we did go lower and we formed a double bottom, which, by the way, I also pretty much predicted. So if Ethereum drops right now, could ADA theoretically get another low? Well, yes. However, you have to keep in mind, if you look at the ADA Ethereum chart right now, it's still going up. It's at about 4,000. And if, like I said in the previous video, if we want Ethereum to actually, not kill ADA in the long term, and if we want ADA to not go to zero against Ethereum, ADA kind of needs to break out of this pattern and maybe even break above the 2021 all-time highs, and to do that, it would need to go up about 2.5x against Ethereum, and I mean, that can only happen when, Ethereum is going down and ADA is not dropping, or it could also happen if Ethereum goes up and Cardano starts overperforming, and it starts doing better than Ethereum. So right now, like I said, what we need to do is break out of this downtrend because it's not looking good. Now, if you go on the ADA Bitcoin chart, it's a different story. However, here we have the exact same pattern that we did in the previous cycle, the exact same 1-2 setup that we have right now, and also this big fake out that led us to another low. Now, in this cycle, it was a bit different. We did not get another low on the ADA Bitcoin chart. As you can see here, we actually did get one. However, there are still some similarities. For example, in the previous cycle, we dropped below the 0.786 support level here, and in this cycle, we did the exact same thing again. So I think what we did right now is just what we did in the previous cycle, but, the other way. I mean, this week down here happened the first time we went down right now, and this week right here happened right now. So yeah, it's the exact same pattern in my opinion, which means that we are about to get a third wave. Now, the third wave, like I said, to be able to confirm that the third wave has started, we still need to get 5 waves up, or at least something that looks like this over here, and right now we don't have that. So we'll see where this goes. I think Cardano is still looking pretty good, and obviously I'm gonna say that because I make Cardano videos every single day, but I actually mean it because, I don't make these videos just for me. I made these videos for me and I make them for you, and I mean, there is a reason I'm making these videos. It's because I actually like the chart and because I actually believe in Cardano. I'm not just making videos because I want to make videos. No, I actually, believe in this, and you probably believe in it as well. That's why you're here. So what you need to do right now is just take a chill pill and, just relax, because there's not much happening. Right now it's Sunday. You should not be watching Cardano videos. It's not really healthy. And well, if you actually want to learn something, just check out my other videos. I mean, I tried talking about different stuff in every single videos. I think a couple of days ago, I actually talked about the S&P 500. And speaking of that, it got to the oversold territory on the weekly. And if you look at what happened in the previous couple of times when we did that, as you can see, this was a bottom, and right now this could be a bottom. And I even looked at the history of this chart, and I mean, the history shows us that when we do get to the oversold territory, we are very close to getting a bottom. And well, if we are getting a bottom on the S&P 500 chart, maybe we are also getting some kind of bottom on the Ethereum chart. But I'm not gonna, say that, at least not right now, because we still have some work to do. For example, we need to get back above the 200-day moving average and above the bull market support band. We could always get rejected there, and if we do, this could lead to a much bigger correction. And the same thing goes for Bitcoin. We are very close to the 200-day moving average here and to the bull market support band. So what we need to do is actually get back above them, and then we could talk about the bullish scenarios. But until then, the chances of us getting another low are still there, so please be careful and please not fall for any traps, because you definitely do not want to lose money. Now, if you actually invested when the market was going down, congratulations. I think at some point you will get rewarded for it, like the people who bought down here did. So I mean, for example, me, I bought down here and now I'm just chilling with my money. I'm still up like 2x from these lows, so I don't really care. But if you bought, for example, right here, you are probably not feeling too good. However, in the long term, I still think it's gonna be fine for everyone. At least I hope so. And well, that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.